The 1980s were not an easy time for the mining city. Things started to turn around late in the decade, but for the better part of the 80s, Butte was mired in an economic depression. After the mines closed, so many people were left unemployed or had to flee their hometown to find work somewhere else. My dad was one of the men who, when he was lucky, found work hundreds, if not thousands of miles from home. Other times, there was just no work at all. During that time, two things reassured me that Butte's will could not be broken. The first was Coach Jim Street's wrestling team, which won a state championship every year of the 1980s. The second was the Our Lady of the Rockies statue. The statue started as a promise made by the late Bob O'Bill. He told the Blessed Mother Mary that if his wife Joyce survived her surgery for cancer, that he would build a 5 or 6 foot statue of Mary on the East Ridge. Joyce survived that surgery, and Bob enlisted LeRoy Lee to build the statue that turned out to be one of the tallest in the United States at 90 feet tall. LeRoy was a welder who never finished high school. He said he had no idea how to build a statue, but he prayed about it and then built it. I didn't build that statue, he said. Mary and Jesus built it. He started with a finger and then built the hand. The next thing he knew, he was building a face. LeRoy said that Joe Roberts, another man who was instrumental in the project, told him that the nose looked like Porky Pig. So LeRoy prayed to Jesus, who told him to make her look pretty. Now the nose is perfect. The statue went up the mountain by helicopter section by section. Thanks to the work of so many, the head was put in place on December 20th, 1985. That day, Butte was national news, and for more than 40 years, Our Lady of the Rockies has been sitting atop the East Ridge. It means so much to so many. For many, it is spiritual. For me, it represents the time Butte would not simply die and go away, like so many thought it would. For quite some time, I had been planning to get a hold of LeRoy, who is now 91, to talk to him about the construction of the statue and the impossible task of getting it on the mountain. I kept meaning to call him. Then, out of the blue, LeRoy called me last week. He wanted me to share a story written about the lady by Father Elias. I have a copy of that story available at ButteCast.com. If you do not know the story, you should read it. If you do know the story, you should read it. Yesterday, I sat down with LeRoy for a long overdue talk about the lady and the 45 years of his life he has dedicated to her. Listen in as he talks about the impossible task and the many near misses that almost derailed the entire project. Listen to the story of how the helicopter nearly crashed, but miraculously the statue survived with a few bent fingers that LeRoy quickly fixed. Listen to how LeRoy wrote a book titled Our Lady Builds a Statue and how it was translated into American English by Pat, his wife of nearly 70 years. I could have talked to LeRoy all day, and this episode just captures a small part of the amazing story, but it is one you do not want to miss. As always, if you are enjoying these podcasts, make sure to tell your friends and show those in your life who might not be so technologically savvy how they too can listen in. Please thank our sponsors if you get the chance. Our sponsors are the ones who bring us these conversations and make sure they are always for free. So please support their business and let them know you heard them on the ButteCast. Drop me a line at full74@gmail.com if you would like to advertise your business on the ButteCast. You too can be part of highlighting some great people and characters of the mining city and beyond. It will also be good for business. The podcast and website, ButteCast.com, have a big reach for not-so-big prices. Let me know if there's someone you would like to see featured on the ButteCast, or let me know if you would like to tell your story on a podcast. First, let's catch up with a man who helped leave a lasting legacy in the mining city, LeRoy Lee.
Proud to be from Butte, America, USA.
Well, LeRoy, I wanted to talk to you for a long time because, like I was telling you before, the Lady of the Rockies was such a big thing for Butte. To me, it was like the point when we told the rest of the world, no, we're not done yet, because we were down and out. Nobody had jobs, nobody was working, and we put the statue on the hill, and next thing you know, we're on the national news. Everybody, everyone's paying attention. I thought it was a great thing that brought the community together. Mm-hmm. Is that how you felt about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of a big deal. And you did so much of the statue. How much of the, and that's one thing I didn't realize is, I was thinking, well, they must have paid some professional guy who knew how to build statues, but you guys didn't know what you were doing when you first got it, right? You just let's figure this out, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Mazzola, John Mazzola, Roberts asked him if he would build a statue.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I didn't know.
Okay.
And he built a statue before.
Yeah, he built a statue.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so anyway, Roberts took me up and showed it to me, and he says, "What do you think?"
Yeah.
And I sat there and looked at it, and I thought, Jesus criminy, this is horrible,
Yeah.
And so anyway, he said, "Do you think you could build a statue from this?" Because he was mad at him because he wanted to be paid for the statue.
Oh yeah.
And Joe, he was really mad at him. So he said no. He says. And that's when he asked me. He says, "Could you think you could build a statue?" And I looked at him and I said, "Could you build a statue of me?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, that's what you're asking me to do, Joe. I never built a statue before.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know where to start."
Yeah.
And so we kind of just walked away from it. And so anyway, as time went by, and one day Joe come in and or Bob or Bill come in, and he had these two little statues,
Yeah.
And he said, I says, "Well, where did you get them?" And he says, "Well, somebody gave them to my wife."
Yeah.
And I says, "Well, why are you giving them to me?" And he said, "Well, I just thought maybe you'd like to see them, So I set them on the shelf, and I kept walking by and kept looking at this little statue, and that's that one right up there. See it up there?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
it's right.
Yeah, I see it there. It's
Okay.
yeah.
You can go in there later. And look
Yeah,
at
I can see it there. There's another one right there. That's not the same.
it. No,
That's not the one.
Oh, that one? Oh,
Yeah.
I got another big one over there too.
Yeah.
That's going to go up when my grave's up there.
Yeah, you wanted to build this. He gives you the little statue to build, and you got to look at that thing and.
Yeah. So anyway, he brought these two statues down, and I says, "What are you going to do with them?" And he said, "Well, I just thought maybe you'd like to see them."
Yeah.
So anyway, I took and I set them on the shelf, and so anyway, Joe come in one day and I says, "Joe, this should be Our Lady of the Rockies with her hands out."
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, we thought about it with our hands out, but we never figured how we would get anybody to build it."
Yeah.
And so anyway, I says, "Well, I says, I'll do it." And he says, "You'll do it?"
Yeah.
And I says, "Well, I don't know. I'll try. I don't know whether I can do it or not, but I'll try."
Yeah.
So anyway, I started. I said, "I'll build a hand first." And he says, "Well, a hand." And I said, "Well, I have trouble drawing hands. If I can't draw a hand, there's no way I'm going to build a 90-foot statue."
Yeah.
So anyway, I built a hand, and it turned out beautiful.
Yeah.
And so anyway,
And is that the hand that's up there now? Was that part of that hand that you first built? Would that
it got
end up being part
damaged.
of? Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's the first hand. I built the first hand.
Yeah.
And I got. Yeah.
And that's what we talked about the hand. That was a story I read last night from the 1985 December newspaper. Talked about you building that hand, but you had no idea that you could do all that. Though. I mean,
Oh no. Oh.
I mean, you didn't. You probably. If
You know
someone-
what I built first? Finger.
The finger.
One finger.
Yeah.
I built one finger.
Yeah. And it's a big finger too, right?
So anyway, I built the finger, and I thought, well, if I could build a finger, maybe I could build more fingers. So I started building. I built the fingers. I built the thumb, and then I put the hand together, and
Yeah. And it's all welded. Is that how? Mm-hmm. So it's all made like a metal scrap. Or was it scrap metal or was it just?
no, it was new metal.
Oh, because new metal.
There were sheets.
Yeah.
And I cut everything out of the sheets.
Yeah.
So
And you made the
14
finger,
gauge.
then the hand, and then was the head the first? Did you make the head last, or was the?
no, the head.
Because I remember the head used to sit there by the street there by. Was that where your welding shop was, or?
Yeah, Roberts Rocky Mountains Cooking Co.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah, because you get off the interstate on, right there on that exit,
Right.
And the head was sitting there for a whole summer.
Yeah. That's when I built the face and that.
Yeah,
Yeah. But the first thing was the hand.
and that's a big. Of course, that's really big. Of course, just the head alone was couple stories.
Filled the whole welding shop.
Yeah, it's a big head.
Yeah, but so anyway, I built the hand, and when I got it built, Joe took it up and had it and put it up in front. They painted it and put it up in front. And the hand was sitting out in the front of the yard people would come down and see it.
Yeah.
So then he said, "Well, when are you going to start the face?" And I said, "Well, I'll probably start it next week. I got a lot of stuff I got to do."
Yeah.
So anyway, I start building the face, and it just. And I was having a hell of a time. I mean, you can imagine. When I got to the nose, when I got to the nose, do you ever think how hard it would be to here you're building a face that's going to fill up the whole welding shop.
Yeah. I can't even imagine drawing a face with a piece of paper and a pencil.
Yeah. So anyway,
crazy.
I was building the nose, and
And you built it perfect to scale. I mean, that's the thing is that you to look at that small statue, and your statue is perfect compared to that. I mean, it's just a bigger version of it. It's such a great job.
Here, I'll show you.
That's
my print.
Oh, and so this is what. Oh, that is. I gotta take a picture of that.
See, this is the rose.
Yeah.
But but you ought to see the original.
So you were able to look at that and do it. I mean, I look at these ice sculptors. People, the ice sculptors they do around town every, the Christmas time they have the contest, and I'm always blown away by the people that can take a block of ice and sculpt it into whatever they're making. And I couldn't even. The artistic gene is not one that I have. But you had no idea that you could do that. Like you told me, you didn't even graduate high school. Mm-mm. So, and you just kind of took. This is kind of like a really big leap of faith that you took.
Oh yeah.
To build that. Was that? That had to be. And that the whole project. I mean, that's what the whole project was, right? The dream is to put a 90-foot statue of Mary on the mountain, and it's just every step of the way seems like that is impossible.
Well, everything was impossible.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I didn't build the statue.
Yeah.
Mary and Jesus built it.
There's times you thought you couldn't do it, and then all of a sudden something comes to you, and you're like, yeah, I can do this. I'll try to build a hand. And if I can build a hand, maybe I can build a face. And the next thing...
Well, that was it. When I built the hand, the fingers were the first thing I built.
Yeah.
I built the fingers, and then I built the hand.
Yeah.
And I put the fingers.
Yeah. And keeping that all at scale too. I mean, of course, you're a welder. You know what you were doing. You're a master of the craft. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like you were flying in with no knowledge at all. But to get that to build, I mean, you draw out the scale there.
Then you had to do the other side.
Yeah, and it has to be exact same size, right? And then everything has to come in. You can't. Otherwise, you might have these giant hands and a little body. It has to be. So it was. So you had to do the math on all that stuff. That's where.
Well, I didn't have. I'm horrible in math.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
but
and thank God for my wife, because she had a when I wrote the book, but you ought to see that, boy.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
a
horrible disaster for her because I was a horrible speller.
So you wrote a book without being able to spell very good.
Well, Sister Mary Jo come down there when I was building the face, and she says, what are you doing? And I said, well, I'm building a face. And she says, she was just shocked, She couldn't believe, you're building a face? And I said, yeah, I'm building a face. And she'd keep coming down to check on me.
Yeah.
She couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and now it's been 40 years later. We're still looking at it up there. It's it's just incredible that it's been 40 years.
Oh, that's yours. Yeah.
Yeah.
That picture was taken.
Yeah. So this was like a 5-year project that you were welding for about 5 years to build this statue.
Mm-hmm. Well, the neat part about it was when I first in, I was all by myself.
Yeah.
And And then this Ron Hughes, he come from Anaconda, and he was going to go to up in welding school.
Yeah.
And one day I come in, and he was at the door, and I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Well, I'm learning more here than I am up there." He says, "Can I help? Would you?
Yeah.
Can I help you?" And I says, "Can you weld?" And he says, "Well, no, not very well." I says, "Well, come on in. I'll teach you." So I taught him. And then, so he was with me for a long time. And then Victor Rand, Victor Rand?
Oh, yeah.
Then Vic come one day to the door. And he says, "You need some help, LeRoy?" And I said, "Yeah, I could use some help."
Yeah.
I says, "Can you weld?" He says, "No." I said, "Well, I can teach you."
Yeah.
And I did. He come to be a pretty damn good welder.
Yeah.
And
then you built, of course, it was like sections, like, because we saw it raised up, was about 5 sections of the
interstructures.
Yeah.
Yeah, I built the interstructures.
So, and it had to be in pieces because you can't take a 90-foot statue and just drive it up to the top of the hill, or even a helicopter couldn't bring it.
Well, they were built. That's how it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they got up there, you had to weld them together.
Oh, up on top?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We had to put them all together up there.
Was it all on welds, though? The whole thing was welded together once you set it down. Then.
Well, I had all the legs built, and they were the first thing, and then the statue went up inside of the legs.
Excuse me, I got this.
You got a cold, huh?
No, I just swallowed something there. I got something in my throat. But and that's the thing is you build, so you couldn't put the statue together down on the ground. It was never on down here by the shop, by Bob's shop. You couldn't put it all together and then take it apart. You had to build it in stages,
sections,
and then you had to know. That's where your expertise.
And you have to build the interstructures.
But you knew. I mean, you knew it would fit together, obviously, because you knew what you were doing.
No, I didn't know what I was doing.
Oh, you did. You did. So you weren't sure that.
The Lady and Lord knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing.
That's awesome.
No, I ain't kidding you one bit.
Yeah. So that must have been a lot of work. I mean, you didn't get to go golfing or fishing or anything for those 5 years. You were spending all your free time.
Well, yeah. No, I went fishing and I went hunting and I did everything, But
yeah.
But and in between that, but Joe wasn't going to stop me when hunting season come.
Oh, you still had to go out for that elk, huh?
No.
And Joe, what was Joe doing on it when building the statue? Was he just kind of there with you? Was he doing any of the work? What was he doing?
Joe?
Joe Robert?
No, he ordered the iron in. He bought some sheets of iron.
Oh, yeah.
I told him, I said, "I need some sheets of iron." And he said, "Well, I know we can get some." So he sent Dave Barker off and brought them back in.
Oh, yeah.
But they were all 4x10 sheets of 14 gauge of iron. And I went through them things real fast.
Flying right through them, huh?
building hands, building faces, building.
Yeah. What was the toughest part to build? Was the face the toughest part?
I would probably say the face would probably be the toughest.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's probably the one where if you mess that detail up, people would probably notice more than if you had a finger out of whack. But
well, yeah.
But I don't think there's. But it seems to me that it seems perfect. I mean, just like you intended to build it. I mean, it's just absolutely perfect. There's no.
Well, and that's what I was going to tell you about the story about Jesus. Mary, I always prayed to Mary, and she was guiding me all the time.
Yeah.
But this one time, I was building the nose, and I was having a hell of a time. And Joe came in and he says, what are you doing? And I said, "I'm making the nose." He said, "Well, it looks like Porky Pig." And I said, "Well, I'll redo it, Joe. I'll redo it, Yeah. So anyway, I went back and I took it apart and I started again. And then I said, and this is the only time I ever talked to Jesus. And I said, "Jesus," I said, "if you want me to build a nose for your mother, you better show show me how.
Otherwise, your mom's nose is going to look like Porky Pig, right?
And by God,
Did it, huh?
and it was the only time he ever talked to me.
And yeah, geez, so
He said, he says, all I want you to do is make it pretty. That's all he said.
really,
And I went back in and took and boom, 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 and put the nose on.
it's almost like divine intervention,
It's just,
just
you know,
working through your.
that's exactly. I mean, he said, make her pretty.
Yeah.
You know, and I asked him. I said, you know, I says, I'm having trouble making the nose. I said, if you want me to make this for your mother, you better help me. And boom, and he did.
Yeah.
I went back in there and said, boom, 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 and boy, it just.
So that was just like a way that he trusted you, right?
He said, make her pretty.
Yeah.
That's all he said. The only words he said, make her pretty.
Yeah.
And so I went back in and boom, boom, boom. And boy, the face is beautiful.
Yeah.
You ever been up to see the face?
I have. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It is.
You're a dumbass welder, didn't finish and build a face.
Were you ever an artist? Did you ever draw stuff?
Oh, I used to draw.
Yeah.
I used to.
Because you must have some natural skill as an artist.
Well, I would say, yeah. I mean, why I was ever picked, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, when me and my sister were born, we were only 1.5 pounds.
No kidding.
A pound and
Were
a
you
half.
twins?
Huh?
You were twins?
Twins. And we were 1.5 pounds.
Wow.
And for 6 months, it was. They didn't think we were going to live.
Yeah.
I mean, because we were so tiny.
Yeah. And then, of course, obviously things worked out for you. You got better. And so were you always were you religious as a boy? Were you?
No.
No.
I was. My mother and father sent me, and after we got out, my mother and father sent us to Baptist church.
Oh yeah.
And we were baptized.
Yeah.
So then, when I went in the Navy, I come back, and my wife was Catholic, so I become a Catholic.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw you got married in St. Mary's with Father Barry, and that's where my family was all.
Oh, is that right?
St. Mary's family, yeah. And Father Barry, Mike Barry was, I believe, adopted by Father Barry. Was my dad's best man at his wedding.
Oh,
You know, he came from, I don't know if he's from Korea or somewhere. You know, Father Barry brought him in, but yeah, that's. You didn't grow up on the hill though, right? Your wife's from the hill. Pat
was on the hill.
She was a hill girl. Where did you grow up?
Where was I at?
Yeah, where did you grow up at?
Down with Whittier here.
Oh, this is your neighborhood right here, and they went to the Whittier school.
Did you go to Whittier school?
Did you go to Whittier? Did you go to school here at Whittier?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, and then Butte High. What year did you must have graduated Butte High?
I didn't graduate.
Or what year would have been? What year would your class would have been? About mid-50s?
50. Well, I went Navy in 54.
Okay, so 54. So you're about the same, like Dan Sullivan, Bob Obilovich, those guys, they would have been about the same age as you, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so Butte, you went to the Navy, so 54, so that's right around the Korean War then, right? Right after the Korean War?
Yeah, right after the Korean War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long were you in the Navy?
4 years.
Yeah. Did you like the Navy? Was it?
Well, it was all right until we got in battle.
Oh, yeah. Battle can't be fun.
Well, then I was on an ammunition ship.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus. So we'd go, well, like when we went right out of Korea out there,
Yeah.
we'd go come in with the ammunition, but they'd put us 5 miles out. Because if it ever was hit by a torpedo,
Yeah.
They didn't want nothing to do.
It would have been quite the fireworks show if you get hit, right? Yeah.
So I was on one of them ships, and we take all the ammunition over and put it over and send it over and put it on the carriers at the tin cans.
Yeah.
Day and night.
Yeah.
We wouldn't go to. we wouldn't go to sleep or nothing
Yeah.
for 3 days. It took us 3 days to unload that thing.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I was on the winch one time, and on the winch, and I'm sending them across, and the waves were going like this, and this one guy reached up to grab the ammunition. It had all the ammunition in it, and the wind caught it, and I pulled the handle back to, and it hit him, and he went down, I thought I killed him, you know. So anyway, they took me off and got somebody else. I said, get somebody else over here. I can't, you know, because I thought I killed the guy.
Yeah.
And then they went back that said he was all right. I thought for sure.
But that's it's probably where you develop a work ethic in the Navy like that, when you guys have to work that hard, you know, that long. That probably benefited you.
No, we didn't. No, we
wasn't?
didn't. No, we didn't have to do anything.
Oh, but it was 3 days, though. You said you're up 3 days.
Well, no, we unloaded it.
Yeah.
Then we go back to Japan, and Japan they would load it.
Oh, so it wasn't.
So we go on the beach and we go on.
Oh. Yeah. Did you go to church a lot then, as a kid? Did you have to go to church every week or anything like that?
When I met my wife.
That's when you started going to church.
Yeah.
Because because it doesn't seem like you were an overly religious person, and then all of a sudden you get kind of like spoken to as part of the statue.
Yeah. Well, then I was going with her, and
Yeah.
when I asked her to marry me, you know, I sent a letter to her. And I said, "What do you think about getting married?" And then she wrote back, and she said, "Not unless you become a Catholic." Yeah.
So
I said, "I got no problem with that."
so there you are. Now you're a Catholic. Huh?
That's how I become a Catholic.
Yeah. And then you probably never would have dreamed, if someone would have told you when you were 25 years old that you were going to be building a statue of the Blessed Mother put on the Lady Rockies, you probably would have thought they were crazy.
You know, I don't know about that. Yeah, that was something different.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that was a feat. Matter of fact, one time it was in the middle of winter. It was colder, hell, and I got on a ladder and went up, and the damn ladder went out from underneath me, and I come down, boom, right on that ladder.
No kidding. Huh?
So anyway, I told Vic. No, it wasn't Vic. It was the other. I told him. I says, tell him I've gone in the hospital because boy, my leg was just killing me. Yeah. So I went to and I thought, well, I'll go to the chiropractor because in my lifting tanks and packing them on my back and everything. Yeah. So anyway, I went to the chiropractor, and he said, I'm going to send you this. I'm going to send you to the doctor. He said, I think you got a hairline crack in your leg. And I thought, oh, great. Yeah. So anyway, then he sent me to the hospital to see a regular doctor. Yeah. And he told me, he looked at it and he says, well, you got a hairline. It looks like a hairline crack, but it could be a bloodline. He said, I'm not sure. I tell you what you do. He says, give you a set of crutches and you don't get off of them. Stay on them for a week. So anyway, then when I went home, and my son Rob was playing football or basketball down in Dillon. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I told Pat, I said, well, let's go down to the basketball game. So anyway, I'm walking in without the crutches. And Pat said, she said, you know what the doctor told you? And I said, it ain't broke. The lady ain't going to let it be broke. So I went back to the doctor, and he says, well, how long have you been walking on that? And I said, ever since I was out here last. And he says, it ain't broke then.
Yeah, it works just fine, huh? Yeah. It still had to hurt though, right? Did it?
Yeah, it was. Well, you imagine I come down right on the ladder.
Yeah,
you know,
that would hurt.
All the way with a 10-foot ladder.
Yeah.
Boy, I was out there laying down. I was really hurting, and it was below zero. And I'm out there laying down, and I'm hollering, Vic. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
Then he finally come out, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Yeah. Now, were you and Bob O'Bill friends before this? Did you guys?
You know, I didn't really know Bob that well. You know, when I was building the statue, he was so busy on the mountain. You know, doing his thing.
Oh, he was in charge of clearing off the
Well,
spot.
Bob, I was doing everything down there, and Bob, what he was doing on the mountain. They had to get that whole mountain fixed up. And,
Yeah, that was a lot of work to
Yeah.
flatten off that spot. And
well, they had to get everything done.
Yeah.
And then I went up on the mountain, when we put it together and everything.
yeah. Did you ride you rode the helicopter? Mm-hmm. Ever? What was that? That ought to be pretty fun.
Oh, that was pretty neat.
Yeah. You weren't in it when they had the incident with the hands spinning and all that, were you?
Oh yeah, I was up there when that was.
But you weren't in the
I was
helicopter,
on
though.
the drag line when.
You were up there with the rope ready to grab it?
Yeah, well, we had the drag line. We had some on one side, one on the other, so
Yeah.
we could keep it stabilized.
Yeah, that's the thing is when you see the videos of the people, and I remember watching it on the news, couldn't see it live from down there, but you see all those people up there grabbing it.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of people.
Well, we had a hold of it, and then when that thing went over, I mean, it pulled the lines right out of our hands.
Yeah, it's amazing that it's almost a miracle that there wasn't a major disaster there with that helicopter crashing.
Pilot told me, Comstock told me, he says, I said, why in the hell didn't you drop it?
Yeah.
And he says, all I could think about was the work that you people did to building this thing, and I wasn't going to drop it.
Yeah, because that would have been bad. It would have probably ended up at the
And
bottom.
it was going, it was going into the cliff.
Yeah.
And I says, why in the hell didn't you drop it? And he says, all I could think about was you guys.
So he was part of the project too. He saw what it was, right?
When it was going into the cliff, it stopped.
Yeah.
Well, who do you think did that?
Yeah. Same one who told you to build the nose, right?
And out it come, and down out to the airport. They sent me down on a plane, and I got down there, and they said, "Would you think you could?" Because it was pretty much where the hands was and everything.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went up and fixed all the hands and everything, and then they come back and put it back up.
Yeah. Now, and I remember being so nervous because that was on the news. We watched it live happen. Well, I'm up at the Kennedy School. We're watching out our windows. We're seeing this piece go up there, and all of a sudden we can see that all hell is breaking loose. And then it takes back off, and it's got the piece still on it. And they're seeing the news that the hands some of them were broken and need to be fixed. And I was like, oh my, they're not going to get
broke. They were bent.
bent. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
But I was like, they're not going to get this mount. It's over. That's what I was thinking. It's over. But then it wasn't that long because I think the first one, it was only about a week between the first piece and it was even the week. Mm-hmm. The first piece and the last piece go up. So
well, even right after that, when it went down, then they took it out the airport, and he set it on that bank.
Yeah.
But then they called down, told me to get down there, put me in a helicopter and run me down. And he asked, the Comstock says, "Do you think you could fix it?" And I says, "The lady will take care of it. I'll fix it."
Yeah.
And I did. I went and I cut it and fixed it, took it all, put it back together again, and then back up the mountain it went.
Were you working on it did it take you a long time to fix it?
No, I did it in one day.
Yeah. And then you were right back up with it.
And we went back right up with it.
Yeah. And that's a daunting task anyway. When there must have been a lot of people looked at you guys like you were crazy when you said you're going to put this statue up there for one thing, and then how you're going to get it up there. You must have got a looks like you guys are nuts. Did you get that a lot? Or did people just believe in you?
I think a lot of people didn't think we were going to do it.
Yeah.
And Bob O'Bill, and the sad part about Bob O'Bill and Joyce, they were getting hell from everybody. The right to read or speak, it was always in there. Read or speak, and they'd say, here you are putting up $1 billion or $1 million statue, and here you, I mean, and they were catching living hell.
I remember that. I remember one of my grandpa's old buddies. He was like quite a bit older than my grandpa, like 25, 30 years older. He wrote a letter to the editor. He didn't want the statue on Saddle was it Saddle Rock? Is that what it was?
Saddle Rock.
He didn't want it up there because he's talked about when he was a kid, he'd hike up there and sit there, and he didn't want that disturbed. And I remember looking at him like, what are you, crazy?
Well, I got a whole book of this.
Of all the negatives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
sure that one's in there.
I kept all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But afterwards, I never heard another bad word. I mean, it seemed like once it was up, it seems like it was all better. I mean, the community kind of rallied around him. You know, I think we saw the miracle that it was to get that thing up there. I mean, it was great ingenuity of man and a lot of
But
hard work.
that wasn't there was another time.
No.
Before that one.
Yeah.
And so anyway, they brought Comstock and them brought the piece to lift up, and so anyway he lifted it up, and he had to go cross over the highway. Well, when he crossed over the highway, there was a truck parked right there, right on the highway.
Yeah.
And so anyway, the winchman, he says there's a truck parked on the highway. You're not going to be able to clear it.
Oh, really? Oh, so it was that? Yeah.
Yeah. And by God, and so when they went over, he gave it all he had, and it just cleared him.
Oh, wow.
That's how close it come of that ended that right then.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew about that one.
Yeah, I'd never heard about that.
No, that was. Boy, that was.
So just right over here at the.
So we come out of the yard.
Yeah.
And then he was going over. Well, when he was going over, the Grinchman's went down there. He's looking right down on the truck. He said, "Hey, there's a truck down there."
Yeah.
So he
barely got over.
He obviously gave enough power. That it went right over the top of the truck.
Yeah.
There have been two guys in that truck.
That's awesome. That's amazing that.
But nobody really knew about that one.
Yeah.
Not was too much ever said about it.
No, that was.
And we're all standing in the yard with our mouths open. Oh shit!
I got to get over. Yeah,
for sure.
And plus, it was a cold. That was a cold December, if I remember.
It was a cold.
And I did read a story that it was the plan. I believe was to do it in October. Because December 20th is probably not the ideal time to be putting anything on top of a 7,000-foot mountain.
It was damn cold.
Yeah. Was there any talk of like, hey, let's wait till the summer of '86 and we'll put it up there?
No, once it
was ready, it was going to go. You guys were just determined.
Once they said go.
Yeah, you guys were just that determined to get it up there, and you weren't ready to wait.
That Tom Talk, he was something else.
That's a pilot. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked him. They sent another pilot. Yeah. And he went up there. And he said, "You guys think I'm going to do this? You're out of your mind."
Yeah, because really it's not a low risk operation that guy took on.
No.
Because that was. He had to be he had to be the best of the best.
Oh, he was. Yeah. Thank God, because this other guy, then he come down, he says, "I'm not putting that up there."
Yeah.
So anyway, so he just got in the plane and away he went.
He would have dropped those hands.
Oh, he would have he would have dropped it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. You had to bail out, and it's almost hard to blame him, I guess, with them, because it seems like such a big deal. But so when that head comes, because anybody my age or older, we remember, there's probably people a few years younger who remember too, but we remember I was on the mine dump across the street from my house up in Corktown, on Buffalo Street. Mm-hmm. I'm standing up on that, and we're watching the helicopter take off from over the yard, and it's got the head, and it's going up, and it went over the middle of town, and there was nobody that I knew that wasn't watching that. Everybody was watching that. The whole town was fixated on that. And to see that come and they put that head on, and Connie Kinney had the great line like, "Our Lady is in place on the mountain," or something like that.
Yeah, she was a dandy.
Yeah, she was so, and because all the videos of it, you can hear her narrative, on KBOW. It was such a great thing. But that must have felt great for you when you saw that final piece. All the pieces fit together. The statue's beautiful up at the mountain. That must have felt great to know you were such a big part of that.
Well, yeah, I was pretty proud of it.
Yeah. Were you more proud, or were you more relieved that it was finally up there?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's, as much, we had, we come so close so many times that we could have could have ended it.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, just like when it went over the cliff and it pulled them right in our hands. Boy, we had rope burns because we were holding on, and then that helicopter went over. Boy, that rope, and we were all hanging onto them ropes.
Yeah, and you see it drop, right? Because it dropped down below the cliff.
Oh yeah, it went right down.
Yeah, so that's you probably thought it was over, right? At the time, you're thinking.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I thought
You're probably thinking the helicopter's going to crash.
Well, I watched it. I was at the edge of the thing, so when it went over, then it went to the cliff.
Yeah.
I mean, it just didn't go over and down. It went
down and
sideways.
Yeah.
And it was going over to the cliff.
Yeah.
You know. And I said to him, I said to Comstock, I said, why the hell didn't you drop it?
Yeah.
I mean, my God, your lives were in danger. And all we could think about was you guys.
Yeah.
You know, the work that you did. You know, how in the hell could we drop it?
Yeah.
And here they're going into the cliff.
Yeah. He's risking his own life for your project.
Yeah.
Yeah. And today, so now it's been, of course, last December marked 40 years since it's been up, which is almost. It's unbelievable to think that that's been 40 years ago because so much of it I remember like yesterday. You know, I remember driving on the highway coming back from Fairmont and looking at the big head of the Lady of the Rockies outside, you know, It's on that yard. It's just hard to believe it's like that. But now people see that up there and it means so much to so many people. You know, it's such a great thing. Irish Johnny, I don't know if you met Irish Johnny. He said that he heard about that in Ireland when he was a kid. He wanted to come visit that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to visit the Blessed Mother on the hills in the Rockies, and I just just to think how much that means, how many people have traveled here, just to see what you guys did, you know, and it's going to be there for generations to come, you know.
Well, we got pilgrimages coming every year.
Yeah.
I mean, we take them on the mountain and feed them and everything. You know.
Yeah. Do you go up there quite a bit?
Yeah, we go up and we go up and put the feet up for them and everything.
Yeah, but how often do you get up there? Do you go up the road to the statue? Do you get there a couple times a year or once a year?
Well, I go up there quite often.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, just.
Well, I painted it 3 times.
Oh yeah.
Boy, and that was fun.
Yeah, I saw someone did a TV report one time of a guy painting it a couple years ago. Hanging out over the, I'm so afraid of heights. I didn't like being on top of the mountain. That's how afraid I like looking at the statue, but all I could see was.
Well, I'll tell you what, you ought to go up there and paint it.
Yeah, I mean, you're up there in those lifts.
You go in that bucket truck. You go all the way up.
Yeah,
and nobody would go up with me. Everybody was chicken shit.
Well, I sympathize with those chicken shits.
So anyway, I go up, and then the wind was blowing, and then the thing is going like this, and I'm spraying, and we're going back and forth.
Because it's windy up there a lot, right?
Oh,
I mean, it's almost always windy.
Yeah, and then spray painting that thing.
That's a job.
Oh. Well, the thing I had one. The first one we did, I had what the hell was his name? He was damn it, I can't think of his name. But anyway, he was a painter, and he went up, and me and him went up together.
And you painted.
So that really helped because he would spray, and I would fix put the paint in the thing while we were up there.
Yeah.
But then after that, I had to go up all by myself.
Yeah.
Everybody Mike Shree said, I'll go up there. He got about 6 feet off the ground to get me off here.
Yeah.
All of them did.
Yeah, because you're on top of the mountain. You're right on a cliff, right off the edge.
Yeah, right.
You're looking right down, and then you're going up 90 feet from there.
Yeah, you're 90 feet, but you're looking.
Yeah.
So that's about 300-400.
Yeah, so you could put $1 million bill up there, and I'd leave it up there.
But then one time I went up there, and then the damn thing, the thing they had down below quit.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here. I am sitting on.
And you're stuck, and it's not working.
And it ain't working. So then they had to go find somebody. And I must have been up there about 3 or 4 hours. And it was starting to get dark. And so I'm trying to figure out how I could slide down the boom, trying to get so I could get down off of this stupid thing.
No kidding.
But then but the last minute the guy showed up and was able to start it up and get me down off of there.
So that must have been a good feeling when they were lowering that.
Oh, I was so glad to get. Well, can you imagine how cold that went?
Oh, because it is. I was up there in the middle of July, and it wasn't windy at all downtown. We're up there in shorts, t-shirts, and it wasn't a hint of wind. We get up there, and I got a great picture of my daughter Maisie because her hair was blowing. She looks like one of those troll dolls because it was so windy. I couldn't, I had to have my hat on backwards, because it was going to blow right off. It was just unbelievable windy, and Bill McBride's like it's like this every day because you remember bus driver Bill McBride? He was the guy who drove us up there, and he told us it was like that every day, and I can't imagine what.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't very. And even when we went up, and then the thing about it is, we put the statue up there.
Yeah.
And then then everybody went home.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was Bobo Bill called, and he says, "We got to go up and finish it." I mean, we've done yet.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm going to church. I'll come up right after church. Well, 3 or 4 of us, we went up there, and then what we had to do is we had to go up and we had to weld all them seams all the way around the whole statue.
That was a big job too.
Shoot.
Yeah.
I'd go. The statue. Here's the statue, and I'd reach over and I put my foot there, and then I reach over, so I could.
Yeah.
Bill Barth said, "You crazy son of a bitch."
Yeah.
But it's the only way I could reach it.
Yeah. Well, and you guys were famous for a while for this. I mean, obviously you got these CDs where you did talks and you wrote a book, and you're working on your second book, the sequel to the book about the miracles. But you guys were, I mean, because of Christmas Eve that year, I remember sitting at my grandma's house. We're eating our dinner on Christmas Eve, and the CBS Evening News. You're on the CBS Evening News. You and Bob O'Bill and Joe Roberts and a few other, What was that like to be famous like that?
I never thought too much about it.
Really? You just were doing what you were doing, right?
I did what the lady wanted me to do.
Yeah. So it didn't faze you. Were you nervous being interviewed by the CBS News? Because that was a big deal. I was at news with Dan Rather or whatever. There wasn't a lot of. It's not like today where everyone picks their own news station and they get to watch whatever they want to. This was people watch CBS Evening News or the NBC News, at the time. So, but that was a big deal because, as I said, Butte at that time, I didn't have a whole. It seemed like it was the Great Depression, because the company just closed, the mine, Montana Resources didn't open up yet, and I thought that was a rallying cry for our town. The whole town was behind that, and I thought that was just such a great symbol that no, we're not going anywhere. Did you feel that way? Did you guys get wrapped up in that, or was it just about the lady?
No. After all them years building it and putting it together, and then going up and putting it up there, it's just something that I just felt it was something I was told to do, and I did it.
Yeah. And but did you feel that though? But like you said, you got a book of all the negative letters and stuff and all the comments. Once it was done though,
I didn't get any.
But once it was done though,
Bob O'Bill.
Yeah, Bob O'Bill got
him and his wife did.
Yeah, but once it was done though, it seemed like nobody thought it was a bad idea once it was done.
Oh no, they thought that was great.
Yeah. And clearly it isn't. I mean, it's been such a great thing for Butte for more than 40 years now. Mm. Yeah. It's just amazing. I'm just mesmerized by the job that you did not knowing how to do that. Because, like, if the lady told me to draw a picture of the lady right now, we'd be out of luck because I can't draw a picture. And you were able to take all that metal, those sheets of metal, and turn it into that beautiful statue. I mean, I think it's just
I would cut the piece and I would put it in there.
Yeah.
And then I would go back and I'd look at it. And I thought, how the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
So then I go get another piece and I'd cut it out and put it in there. And how did I do that?
It's just you were just a vessel.
Yeah.
How often do you look at the statue every day? You can walk out in your yard and.
Oh, I sit in my chair. I can look right up.
You can see it right out the window. Yeah. That's got to be a great sight for you every night, huh? Mm-hmm. What a great accomplishment to be part, and that's something you've been known for that forever, and you know, long after we're both gone, people are still going to know the names LeRoy Lee, Bob O'Bill, as the two men. Behind,
Yeah, it's a shame they're all gone.
Yeah, but I mean, but your guys are going to be remembered for, 100 years from now. People are going to remember you guys. So that's got to feel pretty good to be part of something like that.
Yeah, it's something that you wouldn't forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, LeRoy, I really appreciate talking to you. I really like talking to you because like I just think that was such a big part of, it was a part when I realized, I think maybe I told myself that, because I was, my family didn't have much at that time with my dad out of work, and I kind of told myself that, maybe there's better days ahead. That's kind of, how I looked at it. Butte's not done. Don't write us off. And then, that's kind of how I looked at it, and I thought it was incredible. So I guess thank you for what you did, and thank you for being there, and doing that. You and Bob and Joe Roberts and Vic and all the whole crew and everybody who went up there and did that, all those hands that you saw coming out when the helicopter rolls up. You see all the hands going up, coming out of the statue. I thought that was that. Thanks to all those guys who were.
Well, that wasn't the end of it. My God, we went up there. I designed the chapel.
Yeah. Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I drew it out and did that, and then we went and built it.
Yeah. So you've dedicated a large portion of your life.
45 years.
Yeah. So half of your life you dedicated to the Our Lady of the Rockies.
And I always felt bad because I my poor wife, we had the kids and that, and I was gone all the time. Yeah. I was down working, or I was up on the mountain working.
Yeah.
And I always felt really bad about that, Especially now, I look back and I think, Jesus Christ, what I put her through.
Yeah.
But she's the one that wrote the one. I wrote the book, but she was the one that put it in American English so we could understand it.
She translated it for the rest of us, huh?
She told me, she said, I'll never write another one. She hasn't either.
Yeah. Well, it's always the hill kids that have to bail out the guys from the flats, right?
Holy Lordy. Yeah.
Proud to be from Butte, America, USA.
Jewelry Design Center. We want to be your jeweler for life.